How's my... Okay. It means I'm really dark then. Okay. This is a little bit better, but still not great. Um, I'm going to... If you haven't seen like the full card predictions for this particular fight card, I suggest that you go to the live section of the channel, and you look at the live predictions. I did them a little bit differently. I predicted, obviously, I gave you my picks, and I also predicted, or rather, gave you the that I'm most confident about. I think this is a little bit different. I wanted to cancel the upsets predictions because I wanted to just add them to the final predictions, but I felt like they added something different. I felt like they added something different to the predictions, or rather, they should be on their own. I don't know who commented last on Tuesday when I was doing my predictions, but thank you to that guy because I enjoyed doing predictions in that particular way. That's how I'm going to. That's how I'm going to continue to do my predictions going forward. First I give you my picks, and then after giving you my picks, I predict basically who I feel confident about, and then I try to basically which round the fight is going to end it, whether it's going to be a decision, whether it's going to be a finish. I enjoyed doing predictions in that particular format. Um, yeah, and I think I'm going to do them in that particular way. I normally don't do upsets predictions for fight night cards, but this one is a little bit special. Even though June has been one of the most horrible months for MMA fans, man. Like we lost the Islam bargain, we lost the Hamza Chimaev fight. We lost the Conor McGregor fight. We lost the Hill versus Bargain round three. Then we lost Carlos Ulberg versus Hill. Then we lost Carlos Ulberg versus Anthony Smith. So if you're an MMA fan, this is probably not, you know, the best month. Anyway, let me stop rambling and get to the fights. A lot of you, obviously, if you watch my live predictions, you already know some of my picks. I'm just basically going to try and give you an idea of whether or not upsets are possible here. And I think it's also important for me because in most cases, I know which fights I'm not sure I'm going to win. So I think I should actually try to do this for every single fight card. So yeah. Anyway, let me start. It's a minus one to 112, and the Cheng Ho Lee is a minus um 108. So for me personally on this particular card, I feel like an upset is possible. Whoever like largely because these fights are a coin flip in my opinion. I don't necessarily feel like anyone has like a strong advantage in this particular instance. I just feel like I only picked Long largely because I feel like he has a higher probability of winning, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he is basically a lock. This is one of those fights that I feel like is a coin flip, and if you value your money, just stay away from it. Unless if you are confident, I'm here to just advise, or rather give you my opinion on the fights that I feel confidently about. Ultimately, it's your decision, but I feel like this fight is not worth it because it could go either way. So, if if you were to ask me, is an upset possible here? Yeah. I mean, that's why the odds are so close. So the fight could go either way. Even though I picked Long, I'm not very confident on it. On to the next one: Magomed Gaziasulov versus Brandison Ribeiro. Magomed is a minus 340 favorite, and the Brenderson Ribeiro is a plus 270 underdog. Do I think an upset is possible here? Nah. I mean, it's MMA. I mean, it's MMA. Anything can happen. We have seen crazy things happen, and black people are fast. Okay. Are you trying to be racist? I don't know. Why would you even say that? Anyway, um, so for me personally, I don't think an upset is possible here. I think Magomed Ghaziasulov is a favorite for a reason. Um, I honestly can't see this fight going any other way. But like I said, it's highly possible. I mean, it's MMA. He could land a big shot and get a knockout and a finish. I mean, if anything, Jeka showed us that we shouldn't be too confident on anyone. But yeah, I think Magomed is a favorite for a reason, and I don't see an upset happening here. So yeah, and my subscribers and I picked Magomed Gaziazulov. Gaziazulov. Yo, these names. Anyway, on to the next one. Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Nicolas Dalby. The Rinat Fakhretdinov is a minus 750 favorite, and Nicolas Dalby is a plus 295 underdog. Do I think an upset is possible here? Let me see. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, it's possible if maybe Rinat Fakhretdinov somehow guesses out, but I don't think that's going to happen, especially because it's a 3 round fight. It's not even a 5 round fight. If maybe it was a 5 round fight, I'd consider the idea that maybe an upset might be possible, but in this particular instance, I don't. I feel like however the fight goes, I will give the advantage to Rinat Fakhretdinov, whether it stays standing, whether it goes to the ground. I don't feel like Rinat will be outskilled, and I know a lot of people like to complain or rather speak or comment on his cardio and all those type of things. For me personally, I don't feel like it's going to be too much of a factor, and I don't feel like his cardio is that horrible. I just feel like he puts on such an incredible pace that it becomes a little bit tricky. It becomes a little bit tricky for the people that is fighting. I mean, he's like Hamza Chimaev. A lot of people give him a lot of flag for having bad cardio, but if you look at the pace that he puts on these guys, that's why he ends up winning the fight, even if he guesses somehow, because he scares people in the first round just so much that you have to be careful. Look at Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is one of the most incredible wrestlers in the UFC. However, Hamza Chimaev managed to scare him enough. Um, give me the more gas. Yeah. So sorry about that. So I feel like I don't think cardio is going to be that much of an issue for Rinat Fakhretdinov. Even if he gets tired, I think he'll find a way to get it done. So my official pick and my subscribers' official pick is Rinat Fakhretdinov, obviously, and I honestly don't think an upset is possible here. I saw a lot of people comparing Rinat Fakhretdinov to what do you call him? The Bonfim brothers. I feel like the Bonfim brothers are not on the level of Rinat, respectfully. I think Rinat has fought better competition. People like Kevin Lee, like he's fought better competition. I mean, the best fighters that the Bonfim brothers have fought is, I don't know, Terence McKinney. I mean, that's the best fighter they fought. So for me personally, I don't see them. Or rather, I wouldn't compare them to Rinat Fakhretdinov. Anyway, let me not rant too much about him. So I don't think an upset is possible here. I mean, like I always say, it's MMA. Anything is possible. Here, I don't think so. On to the next one. Muin Gafurov versus um, Kyung Ho Kang. Muin is a minus 62 favorite, and Kyung Ho Kyung Ho Kang is a plus 136 um, underdog. This fight, it's a little bit tricky for me because I'm doubting myself despite the fact that I feel confident about my pick of Kyung Ho Kang, right? So my biggest issue in this particular fight, or rather with this particular fight, is that I feel so confident. I feel like Kyung Ho Kang is going to run through Muin Gafurov, right? But the one thing that concerns me is number one, his age, and number two, the, for whatever reason, whenever I've picked Asian fighters who I thought like would have a significant advantage in the fight, they end up disappointing me for whatever reason. But based on my research and based on what I've seen, and I saw a couple of other, YouTubers that I trust, like the MMA guru. I mean, he hasn't been his predictions haven't been great, but out of the people who predict on YouTube, I feel like he comes close to my predictions. I still feel like I have the best predictions on YouTube. I always say if my predictions are bad, just know everyone else is doing horrible as well. So I trust. That's one of the few people whose predictions I take a little bit seriously, and he also picked, Kyung Ho Kang, right? So for me, for this pick, I feel like an upset is highly possible. My only concern is that number one, he's over 36, and then number two, he's Asian. So I haven't done really well when it comes to this category of fighters in the past. But nonetheless, I honestly think an upset is highly, highly possible here, especially because Muin Gafurov is a favorite for whatever reason. I don't know why, because I don't think Gafurov is that good. But he's not that much of a favorite, so I guess I can excuse them. Or maybe they're picking him because it's Asia. What do you call it? Saudi Arabia. So yeah, thinking maybe the judges might score it for them out of like maybe they might scam, or not scam, but rob. Basically, they might rob them. So it's possible. It is possible, but I feel like an upset is highly possible here. On to the next one: Nazarat Hakparast versus Jared Gordon. Nazarat Hakparast is a minus 230 favorite. Jared Gordon is a plus 190 underdog. This is crazy. This is insane, in my opinion, because I think you'll have a better shot of predicting this fight if you flip a coin. Um, Even though people think Hakparast is a lock, I think this fight might be closer than a lot of people anticipate it'll be. I think it'll be very, very, very close. I honestly don't see why he is such a massive favorite on this particular fight. Also, like I said, maybe it's because it's Saudi Arabia, so maybe they feel like he will have some kind of an advantage, especially when it comes to decisions and all of that. But yeah, I honestly don't see it. Jared Gordon could very well win this fight. I honestly don't feel very confidently about this particular pick, even though my subscribers and I went with Nazrat Hakparast. I feel like an upset is possible here, very possible, because the fight could go either way. I feel like they're very equally matched, or rather evenly matched on this particular one. But yeah, on to the next one: Shara Magomedov versus Antonio Tricoli. Shara Magomedov is a minus 675 favorite, and Antonio Trocoli is a plus 490 underdog. Um, a lot of people are saying Antonio Trocoli took this fight on short notice and all those type of things, but to some extent, I agree with that. Um, that he was preparing for what do you call him, Ikram Aliskerov, and I know he was coming in on short notice even on that fight, but um, oh, okay. I see something outside. Sorry, sorry about the disturbance. Anyway, so I think it's hard because Antonio Chocoli has some level of a ground game, and he has the finishing ability on the ground. I don't think I don't know. And Shara Magomedov is pretty good defensively on the ground, or rather on his back. So he performs exceptionally well there. But for me, in all honesty, I think Shara Magomedov is incredibly talented enough on the feet to make it very difficult for Antonio Tricoli to actually win this fight in any way, shape, or form. But because of his ground game, I'm not going to say I'm 100% sure, but I'm super confident that what do you call him? Shara Magomedov is going to win this one. I'm not. I'm confident, but I wouldn't be surprised if an upset happens. But the likelihood of that happening is very low, especially because he's coming in on short notice, right? And one of my subscribers on when I was doing my official predictions, my final predictions, they mentioned that they saw a lot of footage of Shara Magomedov training. He's clearly working. He's clearly working on his wrestling, so he might surprise us when it comes to that. But yeah, I think Sharamagomedov is rightfully the favorite. I don't feel like he's a 675 favorite, but I think an upset here is not likely. On to the next one. From okay, I wanted to say from here onwards, the fights are going to be exceedingly close, but there's one that I feel like is not that close. But let me proceed. Anyway, before I proceed, if you are not subscribed or if you're a subscriber, turn on your notifications so that when I go live, you get like notified, right? Because a lot of people like to ask me this question: when do I go live? I go live spontaneously. I don't have a specific time to go live, so just turn on your notifications and then you'll get a notification. Um, Johnny Walker versus Volkan. My subscribers and I picked Shara Magomedov, by the way. Johnny Walker versus Volkan Ozdemir. Johnny Walker is a -112. Is -112, and Volkan is -108. I think the odds um, explain clearly how close this fight is going to be. This is another one of those fights that I would advise everyone to just stay away from them, because even if you think I mean, like, let me not say that because obviously, ultimately, the decision is yours, the money is yours. But these are the fights, and once I'm done with this, what I'm doing, like the upsets predictions, I'm going to actually tell you the fights that I feel like I'm almost 100% sure I'll get, and the ones that I feel like I'm on the fence about them, right? So let me just say that Johnny Walker is not reliable. Uzdemir is old. Like, this fight is very tricky. Obviously, my subscribers and I went with Johnny Walker, right? But it's really hard to actually be sure that Johnny Walker is going to come through this time. It's kind of like the prediction of Kevin Holland when he was fighting Michal Olex Chaychek or something like that. He has the ability to actually win the fight, but you're not sure because of his previous performances. Like, you don't know if he's going to show up or not, how he's going to look. I think Johnny Walker should definitely win this fight, but he's so chinny that it makes it difficult to be sure that he won't get knocked out, especially after Uzdemir finished Bogdan. But to be fair, I'm a fan of Bogdan, right? But and I picked him in that particular fight, but after watching a couple of his fights, I don't think Bogdan is that good. Unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I think maybe he needs a little bit of time to improve. So I'm not surprised he lost to Uzdemir. I think Johnny Walker is a little bit better than Bogdan. So not a little bit better, man. He's a little bit cleaner because even though in his fight against Magomed Ankalaev, I picked Magomed Ankalaev to win that one. I was worried because of how wild Johnny Walker is. But nonetheless, I still feel like Johnny Walker will be the better fighter. But irrespective of the fact that my subscribers and I picked Johnny Walker here, it's a coin flip. It's a coin flip. If you want to risk your money, then it's up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, but this is a coin flip. If you value it, just skip this fight, man. Don't. It's not worth it. Um, but yeah, my subscribers and I went with Johnny Walker. On to the next one: Mohamed Naimov versus Felipe Lima. Naimov is a minus 108. I think he's an underdog here, and then Felipe is a favorite, minus 112. This is crazy because I'm confident that Mohamed Naimov is going to win this one. Felipe is on a 12 fight win streak. I think maybe that's what's confusing a lot of people. They see 12 fight win streak and they're like, okay, this guy is going to finish this fight. Felipe does not have a great finishing ability, whether it's on the feet or on the ground. The finisher is Mohamed Naimov, number one. I think Naimov is a little bit better and a little bit cleaner in on the ground and on the feet. Obviously, I mean, if you're struggling to finish fights in the regional scene, if you are Felipe Lima, I mean, how well are you going to do in the UFC? It's hard for me to see someone like having a really exciting career in the UFC, even if not even just exciting, but winning consistently. If you are coming in with less than 50% wins from the regional scene, right? In the UFC, it's kind of difficult to finish fighters. That one I understand. If someone does not have that many finishes in the UFC, I can excuse you because you are fighting some of the best fighters on the planet. It's acceptable, right? But if if you are coming from the regional scene and your finishing rate is less than 50%, it just to me it just says you're not that good. I mean, I mean, people improve. I feel like he's still young. Um, Even if Felipe was not coming in on short notice, I wouldn't have picked him. I think even on a full camp, he doesn't beat Naimov. Now it's worse. He's on like he's coming in on short notice. So there's absolutely no way I see him winning this particular fight. I don't know how he's a favorite, but I mean, people like wasting their money. I mean, but it's MMA. Anything can happen. But I don't think this is the fight that it's going to happen in, especially if it's in Saudi Arabia. Like he'll be extra motivated. On to the next one. Yeah. From here onwards, every fight from here, just stay away from it, man. It's gonna be close. Kelvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez. Anyway, before I go there, Mohamed Naimov, my subscribers and I went with Mohamed Naimov. On to the next one, Calvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez. Um, yeah, I think I broke down this fight in detail in my final predictions, my final live predictions. I don't think I'm going to do that again here, but my subscribers went with Calvin Gastelum and I went with Daniel Rodriguez. I gave my reasons for that. And I'm not sure, but I heard Calvin Gastelum could not even make welterweight. They have to fight at middleweight, if I'm not mistaken. And if that's the case, it just tells me Calvin Gastelum is not as motivated, which means he's probably definitely going to lose. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But as a upset possible here, yeah, yeah, it is possible here. I feel like this fight could go either way. My biggest concern only is that Rodriguez does not have a good takedown defense, so Gastelum could use that against him, especially if they're fighting at middleweight. Gastelum will be a little bit bigger and he's a bit shorter, so he can get to the feet a little bit quicker. But even with that, man, it's really hard for me to actually say that Calvin will win. I know a lot of people are picking him, and he's probably going to win, but I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sold on him actually winning this particular fight. He hasn't looked great in his last couple of fights. I mean, I know he lost to Sean Brady, but it's not like Daniel Rodriguez lost to some horrible guy. Like, he lost to Ian Gary, like he lost also to a ranked contender, in the top 10. So it's not like he lost to like some like unskilled person on the road. I don't know, but that's one of my biggest reasons. So for me, it's a coin flip. I went with Rodriguez. My subscribers went with Calvin Gastelum. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but I think an upset is possible here. Sergey Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov. This one, or rather, let me actually tell you the odds first. Pavlovich is a minus 238 favorite, and Alexander Volkov is a plus 185 underdog. Um, this is like, for me, I think I said this even on my final predictions. Um, I picked, what do you call him? Um, Tom Aspinall, right? The first time, or rather last year when Aspinall fought Sergey Pavlovich. So I'm just going to give you a summary of my final prediction. I picked Tom Aspinall, even though Tom Aspinall was coming in on short notice. I picked Tom Aspinall largely because I felt like Sergey Pavlovich on his way up to the rankings or into the top five, he didn't face good strikers. He just faced a lot of people who were power punchers. Taito Ivasa, Derek Lewis, Curtis Blades does not know how to strike. I mean, he's improving, but he's not a striker. So other than those three people, who else who is good? Like, if maybe Pavlovich had fought maybe Jorginho Rosenstrike or those kinds of fighters, I'd be like, okay, I'm picking Pavlovich. But so far, he hasn't fought anyone who's good on the feet. Volkov is not only good, but he's also a smart fighter, right? He knows how to use his height. Even though I think Pavlovich will have the reach advantage, I think, but I think Volkov will be able to use to his height to actually win this particular fight. I think he's going to mix it up. It might be a decision, it might be a submission. Pavlovich obviously has the power to finish this fight in the first round. I'm not discrediting that. But for me personally, I'm not ready to say Pavlovich is legit up until I see him beat a good striker, which is one of the reasons why I picked Tom Aspinall last year. And even in this fight, I don't think Sergey is going to win. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. My subscribers went with Sergey Pavlovich. I went with Alexander Volkov. So an upset is definitely possible here. Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. I went with Ikram Aliskerov. My subscribers went with Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker is a minus 155 favorite, and Aliskerov is a plus 130 underdog. Also, on this one, I'm not going to go too much into detail about why I picked him because the final predictions are available on the channel, on the live section of the channel. So I'm not going to go too much into detail. But basically, or in summary, Ikram Aliskerov has a variety of ways to win this fight. People were mad at me in the comment section because I said Robert Whittaker does not have any finishing power. Remind me, when was the last time Robert Whittaker finished anyone, knocked out anyone? I'll even take like a TKO. When was the last time? I think when I was doing my live predictions, someone said in 2017. So that was the last time Robert Whittaker finished a fight, right? So that's the first problem. That means the only way Robert Whittaker is going to win this fight is through decision. The possibility of him finishing Ikram Aliskerov is very limited, extremely limited. It's not even high. unless somehow Ikram Aliskerov guesses out horribly, which I highly doubt is going to happen. But that's the only scenario that Robert Whittaker gets a finish, right? If Ikram somehow manages, or rather guesses out. On the other hand, Ikram Aliskerov can strike. Not as good as Robert Whittaker, but he can stand. Ikram can also grapple. You know, um, so I feel like, and on top of that, Ikram has knockout power, something that Robert Whittaker does not have. I mean, if we want to compare who has knockout power, I know he hasn't been fighting top five fighters, but who has the most recent knockout? It's Ikram Aliskerov, right? So whether you agree with me or not, you have to look at these things. That's one of the reasons why I've been saying just stay away from these fights, from Calvin Gastelum, Sergey Pavlovich, and the Robert Whittaker fight. Just the best thing you can do for yourself is to just stay away from them because they are very risky. Like they could go either way. If you value your money, just stay away from these particular fights. But let me just finish up. For me, I feel like Aliskerov can win this fight via submission. He can win this fight via knockout and potentially via decision if he has enough cardio, right? I don't know if this fight is going to go to a decision, but I mean, Robert Whittaker was preparing for Hamza Chimaev. But that might also be a problem because he might be coming in there thinking this guy is a wrestler, so he might have continued to focus on wrestling. And Ikram just comes in there and tries to just knock him out, and he succeeds, which is basically what Dricus did. Robert Whittaker said he didn't feel good or whatever the case is. I disagree. I think Robert Whittaker looked good in the first round against Dricus. The problem is if you are able to take Robert Whittaker's shots and you're still moving forward, it becomes a problem. And I think that's how Ikram Aliskerov will find a way to win. I mean, I could be wrong, but my official pick is Ikram Aliskerov. My subscribers went with Robert Whittaker. Now let me tell you the fights that I feel confidently about, and the fights that I don't feel so confidently about. Long, my subscribers and I went with Long Xiao. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this guy's name properly. I'm sorry to all the people from his country and him as well. I'm not very confident about this fight. I think Long has a probability of losing, largely because this fight is a coin flip. So I'm not so confident about this one. Magomed Gasiasulov. If I was going to bet money, this would be one of the fights I would actually consider putting my money on. I'm a bit confident on this one. Rinat Fakhretdinov. I mean, I don't know if it's worth it because he's a favorite, so it'll be a little bit more expensive. But I think I'm confident on Rinat winning this one. Um, like I said, I'm going to tell you the fights that I feel like if I was to put money, these are the fights I would be putting money on. So whether it's a parlay or whatever the case is, these are the fights that I would consider, putting my money on. So Rinat Fakhretdinov, yeah, I would actually put my money on it. Muin Gafurov versus Kang Ho Kang. I feel confidently about Kang Ho Kang winning, but I wouldn't put money on it because of his age, and there are a couple of factors that are scaring me. But I'm confident he wins this one. But I wouldn't put money on it. Nazrat Haqparast versus Jared Gordon. Definitely not. I would never put my money on this fight. Sharama Gomero versus Antonio Tricoli. I wouldn't put my money on this largely because of Sharama Gomerov's grappling is untested. I know there's signs that he's been improving there on that particular area of his game, but I wouldn't put money on that. Even though I feel confidently that Shara will win, for me personally, I think it's a little bit risky. Johnny Walker versus Volkan Ozdemir. I would never put my money on this. Very risky. Very risky. I would never, never, never. Mohamed Naimov versus Felipe Lima. Yeah, most likely I would put my money on this. I think Mohamed Naimov will most likely definitely win this particular fight. Calvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez. Never. No flipping way. I wouldn't even try to use it. Even $1. Maybe $1. I would consider it, but I mean, how much can you get from that? Anyway, Sergey Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov. I wouldn't put my money on it. Um, Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. I wouldn't put my money on it. So yeah, those are basically my upsets predictions. Like I always say, if you're new to the channel, subscribe and turn on your notifications so that when I go live, you get notified. If you're subscribed, then I mean, just turn on your notifications. I get a lot of these comments. Yeah, I'll see you when I react. There's a lot of things that I'm working for, that I'm working on for the channel. The awards, like I want to discuss with you. Once I hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm on 9.5. Yeah, so once I hit 10,000, I'm going to go live for the 10,000 subscriber celebration, and I actually want to speak about a couple of things for the second annual Combat Sports Awards. Also, voting for UFC 303 is out in the community section of the channel. Go vote for who you think is going to win. It's part of the subscribers pick. A lot of people ask me how do the subscribers choose or pick who is going to win. It happens every single week in the comment or in the community section of the channel. Just click on the channel and go to community section. You'll see every fight on UFC 303. Um, whoever who, whoever has the highest votes will be put into the videos and will be also included in the live predictions that I do. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Just if you're new, just go through the whole entire channel. I think you'll like it, especially the shorts section of the channel. Until next time, I love and appreciate all of you. Deuces.